This is the sound of your ride home with Dad after he caught you vaping. Awkward, isn't it? Most vapes contain seriously addictive levels of nicotine and disappointment. Know the real cost of vapes. Brought to you by the FDA.
No matter what happens to your phone this holiday, whether it crashes down the chimney or gets broken like a New Year's resolution, Verizon's got you. Now's your last chance to trade in any phone, any condition from one of our top brands and get a wonderful new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on Unlimited Ultimate and iPad and Apple Watch Series 10. That's up to $2,000 in value. So you'll save big on 3 amazing Apple gifts, only at Verizon. Service plan required for iPad and Apple Watch. Up to $2,000 value based on iPhone, iPad, and Apple Watch. Trade in and additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details. Apple Intelligence available now.
For exclusive podcasts and more, sign up at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia.
This week's Law & Order Marathon winner is Corinna Beck of Schleswig-Holstein in Germany. Corinna will get a marathon decal showing she watched 26.2 hours of her favorite crime show. To be next week's winner, sign up at lawandorderpodcast.com.
I'm Kevin Flynn with Rebecca Lavoie and Margot Donahue, and these are their stories.
You think you know who did it, but you don't know who did it. Law and order, law and order, law and order. It's no ordinary police procedural, baby. It's the FNOG of police procedurals, baby. Law and order, law and order, law and order, law and order. These are their stories, these are their stories.
Welcome to These Are Their Stories, the podcast about network TV's most enduring crime franchise and the real-life cases that inspired the shows. I'm Kevin Flynn. Each podcast will break down an episode from either Criminal Intent SVU or Original Recipe. And today we're looking at The Mothership Season 16, Episode 7, House of Cards.
Arlene tried to abduct a baby from a park. When that failed, she set her sights on Chelsea Haggerty.
So she murdered this poor young woman just so she could steal her child.
That's what the police think.
Joining me to do just that is true crime author and the host of Crime Writers On and Netflix's You Can't Make This Up podcasts, Rebecca Lavoie. Hello, Rebecca.
Hello, Kevin.
And rounding out our panel is our special guest from the Book versus Movie podcast, Margot Donahue. Welcome back, Margot.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me back.
Merry Christmas to you.
Happy holidays.
Hanukkah too.
Yes.
Also started.
Mm-hmm.
So
He's so Christian-centric, it's ridiculous.
So just a salute to everybody who is hiding from their family in the bathroom on their telephone.
Yes.
Good for you. So, Margot, on Book versus Movie, you talk about which piece of art was better, right?
Right.
Okay. So have you compared and contrasted the adaptation of Roderick Thorpe's Christmas story, Die Hard?
Yes, of course we have. We did that a few years ago. That's like my annual watching.
Fantastic. Do you remember the name of the book?
No. Oh, God, no. You stumped me.
The original book was called, and I do have the book and I have read it, it's called Nothing Lasts Forever.
Yes.
But Hans Gruber falling from the Nakatomi Tower will last forever in my mind. Margot, of all the franchises, which two cops are your favorite Law & Order detective team?
Favorite Law and Order detective team.
I thought about this and I decided I'm going to go weird and I'm going to pick Lupo and Bernard.
Oh, okay.
That is weird.
Thank you.
Just, we haven't got that one in a long time, but that's a good deep. I don't want to say it's a deep cut.
It's a deep cut.
It's a cut that a lot of people forget because it was those latter years of the original Law and Order.
Yeah. They don't make it onto T-shirts, those two.
Yeah.
We don't have a favorite T-shirt for Lupo and Bernard. So can you tell us who is your favorite prosecutorial team?
Favorite Law and Order District Attorney prosecutorial team.
It's always going to be Angie Harmon. And I know the character's name is Abby, but she's Angie Harmon to me. And Angie Harmon is just one name. And she's so mean and so stern. And she actually scares the crap out of McCoy. And I love her for that.
ADA Rizzoli, right? I love her.
You do not cross her.
Oh.
Because I feel like she will cut a bitch. All right, now let's take a look at the first half of this episode, Law & Order Season 16, Episode 7, House of Cards. While investigating the murder of Chelsea Haggerty, Detectives Green and Fontana learn her 5-day-old newborn, Nicky, is missing. A neighbor heard Chelsea arguing with the man before the murder, but her common-law husband, Steve Monroe, has an alibi.
You run the baby's father?
He's clean, and so far there's no record of any domestic disturbances at that location. He seems like a pretty stand-up guy.
Yeah, well, so did Scott Peterson. Maybe he's overwhelmed by the responsibility of a new baby.
Money was tight.
Maybe she was spending her money on drugs. The tox screen, Chelsea had crack in her lung tissue.
Joe and Ed tracked down her former drug dealer and former boyfriend, Frank Stoll. He admitted to being in the apartment but denies doing the crime. That's when Van Buren says a witness spotted a pregnant woman running from the apartment building with an infant in her arms. The manager at Chelsea's workplace says an overly friendly pregnant woman named Arlene gave her a special teddy bear and a copy of the book What to Expect When You're Expecting, complete with a new chapter on getting murdered in your own home. Fingerprints from the book match a bloody print from the crime scene. Then Green and Fontana interview a teen mom who says a woman tried to snatch her baby in the same neighborhood. A receipt at a baby boutique sends them to the home of Arlene Tarrington. Mr. Tarrington says he was in Tokyo when his wife gave birth last week. The cops find Arlene in the nursery with little Nicky and arrest her for kidnapping. Okay, so this episode opens with Chelsea's sister finding her body on the floor and trying to keep her own little kids from seeing it. So fortunately, her daughter said she has to go potty. So mom sticks both of them in the bathroom. So now her little brother can watch. Now, I know it's something that you can't show on a podcast, and you just have to bear with me on this. I don't know if you noticed this, but that bathroom door had no handle on it. It just was a flat door. Yeah, she locked the kids in a bathroom with a door that swings open like a saloon.
Wow.
Or a kitchen at a restaurant. It's like, that's not going to hold them.
Yeah, or it will hold them forever.
She was a quick thinker. She was a very quick thinker. So we find out later, like, she probably had these other emergencies with her sister.
Yes, true.
Totally.
I've been used to weird stuff all this time. So Fontana and Green are searching for the baby, and they're looking for the drug dealer who sold the crack to Chelsea.
Tell us where you were yesterday around lunchtime.
Harrison High, up in Harlem. My NA group sponsored a Scared Straight with some high school kids. You can check with the principal.
Oh, we will.
So they find one guy whose alibi was that he was at a high school giving a Scared Straight talk.
I'm so sorry. That made me laugh out loud.
Yeah. He says, go check with the principal. And like, oh, yeah. They were like really like a little bit, yeah, we're definitely going to check with the principal. Because that's the lamest sounding alibi for 3:30 a.m. Or 11:30 a.m., yeah.
Do you remember the TV movie Scared Straight? And Terry Nunn was in there from Berlin.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I have this very distinct memory of that.
Did you think he drove the Dare car there? Did you guys have the Dare car when you were growing up?
No.
Yeah, the Dare car where I was growing up, it was a seized drug dealer car that they then it was like a fancy car that they then covered with decals, like a white thing, like a cop car, and it said Dare all over it. And so it was supposed to be like putting it in the drug dealers' faces, like, haha, we got your car. Meanwhile, the cops just got to drive around a freaking Mercedes or whatever it was.
Yeah, I don't think that's the best lesson to teach kids. Deal drugs and get cool cars like this.
Are you looking, by the way?
Yeah. Your mom just dropped you off at school in a Pinto, and you're like, damn. Check out that IROC.
I think I'll take a Dare.
I'll take a Dare. Yeah. So when they're looking for Frank Stoll, the former boyfriend and the drug dealer, we find out he's now working in a restaurant. So when the detectives go there, they make a big show of asking for him.
Can I help you?
Yeah, we're looking for Frank Stoll.
You called in sick today, what?
We need to ask him a couple questions. You got an address for him?
And Fontana notices that a dishwasher keeps checking them out. Because when the cops come in to your office and ask about a coworker, you shouldn't be the least bit curious of what's going on.
You know me, Kevin. I'm doing like this over the cube wall. I know it's a podcast and not visual, but this is me.
Yeah.
Craning my neck until it completely pops off my head.
Margot, if someone delivers flowers to the office, I am all up in that shit. I need to know everything.
Yep.
So murder cops come in.
Of course.
Yeah. And so to entice the kid to talk, Fontana pulls out this giant wad of $100 bills wrapped in a rubber band. You're looking for a drug dealer? Maybe you're the drug dealer, Fontana.
Was it one $100 bill and the rest are singles? I mean, I was wondering, it was a thick wad he gave him.
he implied that he was giving him the whole thing, not just like, I thought in my head, like he must just be peeling off the top bill, but he held up that huge wad to the kid, and I think later he was like, psych.
Why? Was he like, the crime busters? Like, here's the reward ahead of time.
This much for the phone number, this much for the address.
A one-man Crime Stoppers.
Yeah. Just a couple $100,000, I guess, to get a tip like this from the dishwasher that Frank has a girlfriend who works at a pool bar called Shooters, as in Hooters.
Sees this chick sometimes. Works over at Shooters.
Pool bar on 49th Street?
Yeah, she's a waitress.
There's got to be a few of those there.
Not with 38 double Ds.
Okay, I'm just going to say it. She's not a 38, and she's not double Ds.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you like a bra fitter on the side? I didn't know about that.
Could be the Miracle Bra.
She's a tiny actress, with a low-cut T-shirt that says Hooters.
Yeah. She's like a 28F, probably.
Come on,
She's
Margot,
teeny.
back me up on this.
Yeah.
I did not check out her rack, but I will go back and double check.
Because we're not perverts.
No, we're
No,
not.
Margot, that's why.
It's an important plot point. I'm always wondering about the casting call.
Do
it's
you
like,
know-
must be 38 double D. I guess not.
Do you know how Kevin researched that joke? He walked into our room yesterday when I was in bed about to go to sleep and said, "What's your bra size?"
No, that isn't.
And you know what? What time is it?
She cleaned it up. I actually grabbed a handful and said, "What are these?" She cleaned that up quite a bit, and I said, "You'll find out later. You'll know. You'll want to know later." Yeah, I'm thinking when I'm looking at that waitress at Fontana showing the wrong person those $100 bills. All right, so we have Hey, It's That Girl.
We do?
We do?
Hey, it's that girl.
Got a couple here. Who's playing defense attorney Carolyn Walters?
Oh, Discount Mary Kay Place. I don't know who that
The
is.
mom from Freaks and Geeks?
You got it. That's two-time Emmy nominee Becky Ann Baker.
No one is denying my client was at Chelsea Haggerty's apartment on the day of the murder.
I just went there to drop off a gift.
When she got there, Haggerty was already dead.
She was nominated recently for playing Ted Lasso's mom.
Oh, right.
And she was Lindsay and Sam's mom in Freaks and Geeks.
Wow.
She was also Hannah's mother in Girls.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Now, she is the wife of ultimate Hey, It's That guy Dylan Baker.
Oh, right.
Who, he was on Law and Order, and he, gave his kid AIDS or something on purpose and then ran away. He's just, if you don't know right off the bat from the name, he has, by the way, 3 Emmy nominations himself for playing Colin in The Good Wife. Mm-hmm. So if you know The Good Wife, that's where you know him from. He was also the lizard thing in Spider-Man 2, so that should get everybody.
Okay. Sure.
The Venn diagram there, I think, covers it.
Yeah.
So Carolyn says that she was nominated for the episode of Girls in which she accidentally overdoses on marijuana gummies. Now, she said that she knew she was going to have to eat a lot of them, so she asked the crew for sugar-free gummies. Oh. But what she didn't know was that the sugar-free kind would give her digestive problems.
That's right. They give you diarrhea.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Oh, wow.
I made that mistake once.
Yeah, zinc lozenges will do that too.
Yeah. She said, though, it still smelled better than Adam Driver's dressing room.
Oh.
Bless his heart.
Wow.
Yeah. So do you know the actress playing Arlene Tarrington?
No, but I'm 100% sure I've seen her like in Tylenol commercials. Because that woman looks like she has a headache all the time.
This big.
Yeah.
This big.
Exactly.
Said that they'd sell me the child for $50,000. And when I said that I wanted to see the baby's mother, he told me where Chelsea worked.
The actress's name is Wendy Monitz. She was Lulu in The Guardian, Rachel in Nash Bridges, and she was also Governor Perry, John Dutton's fuck buddy on Yellowstone.
Of course she was. You know where she went to college, right, on that show?
No.
Hudson University.
We are Hudson, where the bad guys go to school.
There's literally a diploma on the governor's wall in that show that says Hudson University. I can't believe I didn't recognize her from that.
I've never seen Yellowstone.
You're not missing much. It's the Downton Abbey of America, and it sucks.
It's like Succession, but on a farm.
But everyone loves it.
Everyone loves it. It's fine. It's good. It's good. It's got Kevin Costner in it, which obviously elevates it not at all.
He's the worst.
Wendy was also Dinah on guiding light. So what happened to Dinah? She divorced husband Roger Thorpe, shot and killed husband Hart Jessup, married Shane Lewis, but then left him on their wedding night.
Oh, my grandmother watched Guiding Light. That sounds familiar. Roger Thorpe especially.
Yeah, and here's the tie-in, though. She was kidnapped as a baby. She was kidnapped by Rob Lane, then kidnapped by Edmund Wilson, and then faked her own kidnapping for money.
Wow.
So she knows about the napping.
She sure does. Was she practicing for this show?
She's the go-to.
Yeah.
We don't want to typecast you, but... So can you tell me the name of the actress playing Janine, Chelsea's sister, who found her body?
I came by around 1:30 to drop off some baby clothes, but Chelsea didn't answer. I knocked on the door, and that's when I found her.
That's Trisha Paluccio, 8 Law & Order Universe appearances. She had a 3-episode arc on SVU very recently playing Benson's therapist, who later helps kidnapped Maddie
This
Flynn
one.
get over. She's the one who would take her hand and just kind of wave it back. Does that
Oh
kind
my
of
God.
therapy.
Yeah, with the eye movement thing.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
instead
yeah.
of like a light or whatever, she just goes like this in your face.
Waves her hand
For,
like...
for PTSD or something? Or-
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, light therapy.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah. Her pandemic project was putting together a 2-person musical called Here You Come Again, in which she plays Dolly Parton, helping a depressed Dolly Parton fan by singing duets of Dolly Parton songs.
Islands in the Stream.
That's one of them in this show.
Wow.
Yeah, apparently the guy's in his it's lockdown and he's up in his attic and she's in a poster and comes through the poster and it's heartwarming and whatever. And
That sounds a little VC Andrews, if you ask me.
yeah. Well, she's not exactly a 38 double D herself, so there's a little bit of costuming.
Yes.
Her other creative outlets include pressing flowers.
Ooh.
She worked with Oscar de la Renta to create Taylor Swift's famous pressed flower dress at the 2021 Grammys.
Huh.
Now, we do have some repeat offenders.
We do?
We do.
Repeat offender.
Selena Levea of Orange is the New Black is here again as Detective Rivera. She is the female Profaci.
Oh, Profaci.
Hello, Chief of D's on your office line.
All right. And returning for the 76th time is Carolyn McCormick as Dr. Elizabeth Olivet.
Mm-hmm. Did she have a history of infertility, marital problems, and depression? Medical records say yes.
But we also got to see somebody before they were famous.
We did.
Before they were famous.
Who's playing Uniformed Officer Number 1?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Her sister found her when she dropped by. The door was unlocked. Says the DOA had a newborn son here with her.
Well, where is he?
We searched the whole building. Nothing.
Yeah, that is Kevin Kane. You can see him this Thursday as Moneybags Detective Terry Bruno on SVU.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we know he wasn't Terry Bruno in this?
He's detective. He's Uniformed Officer Number 1.
You got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I mean, he's looking at Dennis Farina and he's like, oh, a detective with thousands of dollars of cash in his pocket? Yeah, I could do that job.
Yes, you can. I love his character. I love him on SVU.
Now, who is the young actress making her TV debut as teen mom Lindsay Doyle?
My cell phone rang, and I was trying to get it out of the diaper bag, and she offered to hold Connor. I mean, she seemed really nice.
Lindsay turned away to get better reception.
And when I turned back, she was all the way over there, halfway across the park, and she had Connor.
That's Christine Evangelista. She was Sherry in The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead. She's also Megan on The Arrangement, playing an actress paid by the Institute of the Higher Mind to be in a marriage with another actor, and it's 100% not Katie Holmes and Tom Cruise.
Amazing.
Oh, wow.
And she is the cousin of Linda Evangelista.
Supermodel.
Just going to say, I know that name.
Who do you think has the higher rating on Wiki Feet?
Oh, good question.
Yeah, Linda's Supermodel Feet score 4.5 stars.
All right.
On Wiki Feet. Christine's feet are a perfect 5 stars.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lucky her.
Take that.
That's incredible.
You think Linda has more of them, though, right? More feet pictures?
She has just 2 feet.
She's probably made more money off her feet than her cousin has, for sure.
For sure.
I don't know. If she has an OnlyFans, she can make way more money.
Only feet?
On her feet. Only feet. Wiki Feet, only feet. Okay, so we have a Hey, It's That Guy.
Hey, it's that guy.
Who's the hockey player neighbor, Craig?
It was around 11:15 this morning. I was leaving for practice, and I heard her arguing with somebody.
That's Doug O'Lear. He was FBI agent Fitzhugh on The Wire.
Okay.
Now, Doug lived 2 blocks away from the World Trade Center and was home on 9/11. His brother, Gregory, worked on the 99th floor of the North Tower. So after the planes hit, he rushed to the scene, but he was a block away when the tower collapsed. And he got saved from debris by somebody pulling him into a parking garage.
Wow.
And he lost his apartment and was the first person to receive assistance from the Screen Actors Guild Emergency Fund.
My goodness.
His brother survived.
What?
Because he was late getting his daughter to school.
So he wasn't on the 99th floor.
No. Isn't that an amazing story?
Wow. That's incredible.
You ready for another unbelievable story about Doug?
Yes.
Doug was working on his accreditation to be a sailboat captain when he and his instructor spotted a man who fell overboard and was clinging to a buoy in the open ocean.
Unbelievable.
They rescued him. Ironically, when they spotted him, they were doing man overboard drills for his certification.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So I don't know if he considers himself lucky, but the people around him must.
Yeah. He's like a time traveler.
He's got a Forrest Gump thing.
Yeah.
He's like a time traveler.
Yeah, it's like he is. It's like, where do I need to be at this moment to save
Right.
this person's life? That's incredible.
He's like in Quantum Leap. Is that what you're saying?
He's like the Incredible Hulk, you know? He like shows up at a place, does a heroic thing, and then is never seen again.
Yeah.
Just goes walking.
Sadly, to sad piano music.
So did you guys recognize 38 Double D?
You mean the waitress at Shooters, Kevin? She is a person.
Yeah.
No.
I'm going, that's a no?
No, I don't
Yeah,
think
okay.
But Frankie would never hurt a kid.
That's Lauren Chapman. And I thought she was Lauren Nicole Chapman, who plays Anna in Frozen on Broadway. And she worked with former Tats guest Ellen Marsh in Kinky Boots. So I thought I was on the right track with the right actress until I contacted Ellen. And she said that wasn't Lauren, somebody with a different name, which is why she had to throw in the middle name there. And that it couldn't have been her because Lauren knew that she was, quote, in the itty bitty titty committee. I'm just quoting Ellen.
All right. That sounds like an Ellenism.
But I showed the photo to Ellen, and she does agree that those are a 32C at best. That's generous. Okay, so can you tell me who is playing Frank's attorney, Daniel Tracer?
No.
You claimed you were suffering from postpartum psychosis and admitted your involvement.
That's Chris McGarry. 5 Law & Order Universe appearances. He's had bit performances in dozens of films and series like Barry, Mad Men, NCIS New Orleans, NCIS Los Angeles.
Those shows are not real.
And NCIS Hawaii.
Oh, my God.
Nope.
No? All right. But he got his first lead role playing Alec Murdaugh in the Murdaugh Murders.
Wow.
What?
Lucky him.
Yeah, when you look at him, yeah.
A little resume.
Yeah, to be clear, that's not Murdaugh Murders, which starred Bill Pullman on Lifetime.
That's the one I saw.
Yeah, nor is it Murdaugh Murders Deadly Dynasty on Discovery Plus, or Murdaugh Murders A Southern Scandal on Netflix, or Low Country The Murdaugh Dynasty on HBO, or Fall of the House of Murdaugh on ABC, or Alex Murdaugh Death, Deception, and Power on Oxygen.
Wow.
Oh, my God. I had no idea.
It's The Murdaugh Murders, which was on Tubi.
Okay.
As in to be seen by people who think Hulu is too rich for their blood. So they bring in Frank, who denies that he was the one having an argument in the apartment with Chelsea. So Fontana asks if he knows what a voice lineup is.
You ever hear of a voice lineup? Where we put you in a room next to the witness, we make you scream and holler?
It's true. We convicted dudes with less.
We've convicted dudes on less than that. And that's the problem, Green.
That's right. He's so proud of that, too. I'm like, you're not supposed to say that.
We don't need much, by the way.
So you can confess, falsely confess, whatever.
Yeah.
We're going to get you either way.
We can just decide you did it.
Right.
And that means you did. Yeah.
So they go to the dry cleaners where Chelsea worked, and they're told that a pregnant woman named Arlene kept talking to her and bringing her gifts and warning her that the dry cleaning chemicals might be harmful to her baby. Now, she's taking crack. Do you really think she cares about Martinizing?
Extra starch, Kevin.
That baby might not have come out addicted, but it did come out neatly folded.
With a little thin plastic over it.
Yeah. Now, no one asks why Van Buren knows that there's a baby store at 47th and 3rd. They just...
I know, so specific.
Very specific, yeah.
That's how they find their way to... I mean, I'm just going to point out the fact that in a previous season, she was talking about how her sister couldn't conceive.
Yeah.
And Curtis was so fucking judgy about it. Like the
God,
whole...
Maybe God just doesn't want her to have a baby.
Right? So I don't know how she knows.
Asshole.
Maybe Van Buren just walks by the baby boutique and stares wistfully in the window or something. I don't know.
That and like the what to expect when you're expecting, like they were like, well, where did she get that book? I'm like, that's like at that time, especially the only book you really bought, right?
Yeah, you find one on a park bench.
Yeah.
The park bench.
They were everywhere.
In the waiting room.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stoop sales. You could just grab one.
Yeah. People would give it to you.
Yeah.
Port Authority bookstore.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. But Van Buren still points out this baby boutique, and that's how they find their way to the apartment of Stuart and Arlene Tarrington.
Were you present at the birth?
No. I was in Tokyo when she went into labor. I caught the first plane home. I got in at 3 o'clock this morning.
And they make their way to the nursery, and they find a baby.
Mm-hmm.
So they take a photo of a 5-day-old baby and compare it to a 6-day-old baby and say,
that's him.
Yep, that's him.
That's the one.
Also looks like a wrinkled thumb. We'll take him.
Yep.
I also wonder, do you have like the mark of the beast or something? Like there has to be, like, how does this kid stand out? This baby stand
little
up?
like stork bite or
Yes.
something. Yes. You know what's funny is like every time there's an episode of that like this, and there's a missing baby, and they're like, have you seen this baby? I'm like, I've seen 8 of those today.
Yeah.
They all look exactly the same.
Well, let me see. Does that baby have a mustache? No? All right, well.
You identify the crying baby.
That's right.
Oh, that's Henry.
Baby was wearing a hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Attention, baby has hat. Baby, look for baby with hat.
The baby's white. It's 22 inches long. The baby's in a lineup. Can you imagine?
Crawl forward.
Can you choose your baby, your own baby, out of your own 5-day-old baby out of a lineup?
They have 6 jumping Johnny things, and they're just bouncing up and down. And like, oh, I don't know. Could number 4 slow down a bit? Yeah.
Wait. Can I hear them talk?
Let's do a voice lineup with them.
Norwegian Cruise Line invites you to experience more in the Caribbean, Alaska, Europe, and beyond. For a limited time, get 50% off all cruises and enjoy NCL's all-new More at Sea cruising package, including unlimited open bar, specialty dining, and more. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or 1-888-NCL-CRUISE. Offer ends soon. Norwegian Cruise Line. Ships registry the Bahamas and USA. Restrictions apply.
No matter what happens to your phone this holiday, whether it crashes down the chimney or gets broken like a New Year's resolution, Verizon's got you. Now's your last chance to trade in any phone, any condition from one of our top brands and get a wonderful new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on Unlimited Ultimate and iPad and Apple Watch Series 10. That's up to $2,000 in value. So you'll save big on 3 amazing Apple gifts, only at Verizon. Service plan required for iPad and Apple Watch. Up to $2,000 value based on iPhone, iPad, and Apple Watch. Trade in and additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details. Apple Intelligence available now.
All right, let's look at the second half of this episode. Jack McCoy and Alexandra Borgia believe that Arlene targeted Chelsea when she failed to kidnap the teen's baby. And although everyone said that she was pregnant with her own child, there's no record of her giving birth.
Anybody saying this marriage was on the rocks?
Her neighbor says they were near divorce until Arlene got pregnant. It's kind of sad, don't you think?
This woman did a murder kidnapping. Breaks my heart.
Arlene denies murdering Chelsea, but says she discovered the body and took the baby in a fit of postpartum psychosis brought on by her miscarriage in the 7th month. Dr. Olivet says Arlene shows some signs of psychosis, but it doesn't explain her earlier kidnap attempt or the furnished nursery. After being ambushed on the stand, the teen mom confides to Alexandria that Arlene offered her $50,000 for her baby. And Arlene's phone records show that 3 days before the murder, she made a call to Chelsea's ex, Frank Stoll. He tells Fontana and Green that he's Nicky's father, not Steve Monroe, Chelsea's boyfriend. So who do they believe was the one who actually murdered Chelsea, Arlene or Frank? McCoy reminds Big Daddy LaBouffe, D.A. Arthur Branch, that Frank put himself in the apartment on the day of the murder. So they cut a deal with Arlene on the kidnapping charge if she can help convict Frank for the killing. She tells the prosecutors Frank offered to sell Chelsea's baby for $50,000. The day of the crime, she waited outside while Frank went in. He then came rushing out, and that's when Arlene discovered Chelsea's body and took Nicky. Jack's not sure if he buys her story, but they make the deal, in part because convicting him would mean that Steve Monroe could keep Nicky. At trial, Arlene admits that in her desperation, she took part in a carefully planned conspiracy. But Frank's attorney says both she and the doctors confirmed that she was suffering from postpartum psychosis when the murder happened. And the only thing Frank did was scam her out of $50K. The jury finds Frank not guilty. And that's when Monroe disappears with Nicky to keep the little boy out of the arms of his drug-dealing, baby-selling biological father.
That was a bummer.
That was.
So this is season 16, and this is the first season in which NBC did not give an early indication of renewal to Law & Order.
Ooh.
And there were a ton of changes this season behind the camera. Much of the writing started coming out of Los Angeles and not New York, and it really set the tone for the remaining few seasons. Which I guess you were okay with, Margot, because you love Lupo and Bernard so much.
I did love that very much. But there were a lot of trading of quips going on here.
So Dennis Farina also would leave after the season ends. And then Annie Parisi, who plays Alexandra Borgia, wanted out of her contract. The sources inside the entertainment world said that she wasn't treated very well by the people at Law & Order.
Oh.
They worried that she looked so young next to the aging Sam Waterston. And they also didn't like her hair.
Oh, come on. That's some bullshit.
It's really incredible because...
they can do stuff about her hair if they're really upset by it.
Yeah. Because Jill Hennessy was like 22 or something when she started playing. Right? She was super young.
But remember, that was 10 years earlier.
That's true. And she was an 80s 22. Let's be
She
real.
was an 80s 22. Which means she looked 35. Yeah. Right. You put those shoulder pads on, and that's 5 to 7 years right there.
Take on that pancake makeup. Yeah.
So when Arlene's attorney says that she's going to file an affirmative defense, McCoy says,
This defense didn't work with Andrea Yates in Texas, and she drowned 5 children.
In case you haven't been keeping up with your law journal, Andrea Yates is getting a new trial.
Loser.
The reason Andrea Yates is getting a new trial, anyone know?
Postpartum psychosis.
No. Dr. Park Dietz, who is the psychiatrist who testified for the prosecution in that case, stated that he had worked as a consultant on Law & Order
Oh my goodness.
for an episode about a mother who drowned her children. But
What are the odds?
no such episode existed. And so Yates got a new trial.
Because the doctor lied?
Yeah. About being a consultant on Law & Order.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And by the way, this controversy would inspire a Law & Order episode.
Of course.
The final episode of season 17 about an error that Warner made on the stand and what McCoy does about that.
Wow. That's wild. But also, if you're testifying in court, how is that a bona fide to be like, I was a consultant on a Law & Order episode? To me, that would disqualify you. Have you ever seen Law & Order?
Yeah.
Everything's so inaccurate.
Yeah, and I don't know if he actually was a consultant at any time, but I think the point was that he was trying to say that
I'm such an expert.
Well, not just that it's a Law & Order, that it was a story that had parallels to the case on trial.
Oh.
Right.
And that episode never happened.
Right.
So the argument, for relief is that, the jury was influenced by him saying, I have experience in dealing with with women who killed their kids.
Yeah, a fictional woman who killed her fictional kids gives me the cred. This is like the Karen Reed trial. That's wild. Who would take that guy as a witness? That's wild.
So they need a consultation, so they talk to Olivette.
Olivette, gentle Olivette, Olivette, who's there not today?
And like every consultation with Olivette, it takes place in a fancy restaurant with a lot of other fancy people around listening in.
Hell yeah.
I would too. Doesn't the fact that she had a miscarriage instead of a live birth also rule out psychosis?
If that had happened during the first trimester, yes. But at 7 months, the hormonal fluctuations would have been much more severe. Combine that with her marriage being on the rocks and having just lost a child.
Are you saying she could have snapped?
I'm saying she would have been very depressed at the very least.
She gives her analysis. She says she's got like a mixed conclusion. A lot of the acts that Arlene had matched that of a mother who miscarried in the 7th month.
Yep.
And could have psychosis. But a lot of the details point to someone with premeditation. So Jack says,
Thanks for nothing, Liz.
It's a subjective science, Jack.
He's very pissy in this episode, by the way.
He is.
Yeah.
He is. And their case, honestly, is very poor. It's like she was clearly planning to kidnap a baby because she had a nursery ready at home.
Right.
She was 7 months pregnant when she had her miscarriage, and she was rich. Of course she already had a nurse. They probably did the nursery as soon as they moved into that palatial goddamn apartment. It was like, someday we're going to have a baby. Let's make this a nursery. It was probably staged like a nursery when they looked at it or whatever. So yeah, it was wild. The case was terrible, and she isn't wrong that it is sometimes a subjective science.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Meantime, McCoy's like, why can't you just lie on the stand for me? Like Dr. Parts Dietz.
Yeah. She's so beautiful. I honestly think she's like one of the most attractive people that's ever been on Law & Order.
Who are you talking about?
Olivet.
Oh, Olivet, yes.
Yeah.
So Borgia wants to know about Arlene faking being pregnant and, continuing to do that after she's lost the baby, which I think they could have explained a little more about her, like walking around stuffing pillows under whatever. They kind of like let that go. But so what Borgia does is she goes to talk to her husband, Stuart, and asks about does she have like a close friend that she might have told?
Did she have a close friend she might have confided in?
I am her best and closest friend.
Oh, what an asshole. What an asshole that guy is.
Well, you make $3 million annually, apparently, and she's your best friend? That is so sad. Go to Shooters more. Lindsay, the teenage mom, tells Borgia that she didn't mention the $50,000 offer because, quote,
my mother, if she finds out the truth, she'll totally lose it on me.
She'll kill me.
Believable.
Which I
totally
believe, yes.
Believable.
You're a sophomore who got knocked up. You've heard worse.
I will tell you the extent to which, and I say this all the time, whenever kids are falsely convicted of a crime and it's like, well, they lied about doing marijuana, so clearly they murdered this person. It's like the extent to which a teenager will go to not tell their parents something, even if they did something horrible the day before. You obviously don't remember being a teenager, obviously. I would climb out a window before my mom found something
The
out.
shame is overwhelming. The shame
It's
is
wild.
so overwhelming, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, wait till that mom finds out that she keeps going to the dry cleaner. I'm going to be happy. So the DNA comes back that Nicky's father is Frank Stoll. Oh. And because Chelsea and Steve Monroe were never married, Frank has a legitimate claim to custody if he doesn't go to prison. So Foghorn Leghorn himself, Arthur Branch, he's really upset. He says,
what a world. Child loses his mother and now risks being taken away from the only father he's ever known.
For 7 days now. The baby has no object permanence.
Yeah.
It's not,
The baby can't even burp yet. Because the Law & Order universe, obviously these trials happen the next day after a crime is committed, right? I'm the baby should be walking by now in real life.
Maybe a toddler.
No. Yeah. Nope. The baby still can't pick up its head.
Yeah.
So Steve Monroe is so upset to learn that Nicky isn't his.
She never mentioned anything about Frank.
No, nothing. She even told me that Nicky looked like me. She said he had my ears, my hands.
Dude, you're a drug counselor who didn't know your own wife was using. And why do you think those are your ears?
Yeah. He's a 13th stepper is what he is.
He truly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought the second they were in a relationship together, I'm like, wait a minute, you were her counselor?
That's right.
Yeah. By the way, she'd been sober for 1 year, which means he banged her less than 12 weeks into her recovery.
Yeah. It's not okay.
No.
And aren't you supposed to never get with a person that you're in a position of power authority over? That's completely unethical.
Certainly never your counselor or whatever.
Steve.
For sure.
Steve.
Yes, Steve.
Fucking Steve, man.
That's a Steve thing. That's classic Steve.
Classic Steve, man. Just
Damn.
like when he was in high school.
Yeah, Steve says about the baby, he knows my voice. He knows my smell. And I bet I know Nicky's smell. It's buttermilk and methane.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
Kevin.
Sorry, I've had a baby before.
If you're ready to elevate your driving experience, the first ever Kia K4 is worth a closer look. It combines style and performance with a sleek, futuristic design featuring Star Map LED headlights and an available panoramic display for unforgettable looks. SiriusXM comes standard in every Kia K4, bringing you closer to what you love. Plus, with an available 190 horsepower turbocharged engine, the Kia K4 delivers everything driving enthusiasts crave. Learn more at kia.com/K4.
Call Her Daddy is brought to you by Searchlight Pictures, presenting Night Bitch.
Starring Amy Adams and based on the best-selling novel by Rachel Yoder, a woman pauses her career to be a stay-at-home mom. But soon, her new domesticity takes a surreal turn. Critics rave, Night Bitch is a daring smart film and a wickedly funny satire of modern motherhood. Amy Adams delivers a brilliant performance, her most fearless work yet, in this endearing love letter to the journey of finding yourself again, and is now nominated for a Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a Comedy. Night Bitch is streaming only on Hulu this Friday.
From the makers of Rice-A-Roni comes Macaroni, a creamy, delicious boxed mac and cheese that's not just good, it's cheesy good. Macaroni will please even the pickiest eaters with 2 magnificent flavors that will melt your heart, creamy cheddar and creamy white cheddar. If you love cheese, you'll love Macaroni by the makers of Rice-A-Roni. If you don't love cheese, well, that's just unbelievable. Try Macaroni. It's cheesy good.
Macaroni, the San Francisco treat.
All right, let's take a look at the real-life story that inspired this episode. It's time for Rip from the Headlines.
You think you know who did it. You think you know who did it. But you don't know who did it. You don't know who did it. Rip from the Headlines.
Some inspiration for this episode comes from the 1988 kidnapping of Rachel Ann White. Cora Abbott placed an ad in a Colorado newspaper looking for a babysitter for her infant daughter. Rachel's grandmother was interviewing a candidate when the telephone rang. She passed the baby to the woman, and when she returned, they were both gone. Police received a tip about Maritza Rentz. Friends were suspicious because her new baby looked larger than a newborn. They learned her husband Paul had filed for divorce, but agreed to stick it out when Maritza became pregnant. Soon after, Maritza underwent a medically necessary abortion, but kept it a secret from her husband. She disguised herself with large clothes, and one day, while he was at work, she rang up Paul to say she'd given birth. A quick search of their home turned up Rachel in a crib, as well as her clothes she'd been abducted in. Maritza pleaded guilty to second-degree kidnapping. Instead of prison, she was sent to a psychiatric hospital and released after 1 year. Maritza Rentz died in 2009 in Antonio, Texas. Today, Rachel Ann White is living in Colorado Springs.
All right, so I'll say that if the plan was to keep her husband from leaving by pretending to be pregnant, she really committed to the bit.
She did.
She did indeed.
And by the way, I'll say this could have gone on forever because the dude believed that his wife had given birth to a 12-pound baby and then drove herself home.
A baby eating solids.
That's right. Why did you call? I was at work.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, our baby's already potty trained. It's incredible.
So not to victim blame, but hold this baby while I go in the other room to take a phone call was not a ZipRecruiter level job interview technique.
Well, I'm going to test her out, see how she does.
Test her out.
Yeah.
Well, she know how to run.
See if she can. She's strong enough to hold this 7-year-old baby.
So Maritza went to a halfway house after her release from the psychiatric hospital. Paul Rentz divorced her, and Maritza remarried 2 more times. She became a member of Colegio Nacional de Periodistas, the National College of Journalists, and she was from Cuba and bilingual, and then she became a school counselor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What advice would a high schooler take from her?
She's good at lying.
If at first you don't succeed.
Do you think she was in that high school telling all the young girls, if you get pregnant, let me know?
I can get you real cash for this.
Because if you're not feeling it, well then...
yeah.
There's options.
I've got a baby-shaped hole in my life.
A baby-shaped hole in my life. So the baby, Rachel Ann White, seems to be living a pretty low-profile, normal kind of life, we guess. She was last in the news about 10 years ago when her mother revealed that Rachel was studying to be a psychotherapist.
Oh, good for Rachel.
I wonder what her admissions essay was about.
It was about her exchange trip to another country to build homes, Kevin. Of course it was. I thought I was going to change their lives, but they ended up changing mine.
Yeah. So when you Google Rachel White, you get links to Rachel Dolezal, and now I understand as I say it out loud why that is. Okay, Rachel White. So the case did inspire a television movie called Baby Snatcher. I'll just list off the stars as you probably know them. Jo from The Facts of Life gets pregnant by Fox Mulder, but her baby is stolen by Joyce from Hill Street Blues to save her marriage with the guy who cut off the ear to Stuck in the Middle with You in Reservoir Dogs.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, I need to see this.
That's quite the cast for an after-school special.
Yeah, that's a great cast.
Yeah, one reviewer called this drama hilarious.
IMDb?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the movie aired on May 3rd, 1992 on CBS. It won its time slot with a 26 share.
Whoa!
Baby Snatcher went up against NBC's Trial, The Price of Passion Part 1 and the ABC Sunday night movie Back to the Future Part 2.
My goodness, what a night.
Yeah, here's a bit of dialogue from Baby Snatcher.
Hit me.
The grandmother says this to her pregnant daughter. You need this baby like you need more bad luck. Don't give me that look. I've been looked at harder by meaner monkeys than you.
Oh my God, how mean she was to Nancy McCain.
Yeah. Philip Chandler has a baby.
Meaner
Randy
monkeys.
Chandler has a baby, yeah. So there are about 5 TV shows and movies with the title Baby Snatcher.
Ooh.
And maybe 24 podcast episodes with that title in them. My favorite is the 2011 short film Baby Snatchers. This is the description. Men with green glowing eyes come from the future to take our babies. It's a story that blurs the boundaries between good and bad. I'm unsure what's morally ambiguous about kidnapping.
Blur lines there.
Yeah. But it finishes talking about the baby snatcher. How will he fare when he tries to steal the baby of a martial arts champion?
Oh.
Steven Seagal?
Like, don't take Ralph Macchio's kid.
Wait, was he an illiterate toy making martial arts champion?
No, he wasn't. He just saw it coming. By the way, I have to know, how bad is the future president who's born in 2011 that's the baby they come back for? Well, that is going to do it for us. We want to thank our guest, Margot Donahue. Margot, where can our listeners follow you?
You can find me at brooklynfitchick.com, and I'm at brooklynfitchick for Instagram and Threads.
And Rebecca Lavoie, how can our listeners follow you?
You can follow me everywhere at Reb Lavoie.
And you can find us at Law & Order Pod on X and Blue Sky. Follow us on Instagram at These Are the Stories Podcast, or like and subscribe on YouTube and TikTok. Our newsreader was Cy Frater. Our theme music was composed and performed by Uncanny Valleys. Content assistance from Travis Roy. Lily Flynn handles promotions. All clips in this podcast were used in compliance with the U.S. Copyrights Act, fair use exemption for criticism and commentary. Go to lawandorderpodcast.com and sign up for our newsletter for a chance to be our next Law & Order Marathon winner. These Are Their Stories was recorded in Studio C and is a production of Partners in Crime Media.
Partners in Crime Media.
If you're ready to elevate your driving experience, the first ever Kia K4 is worth a closer look. It combines style and performance with a sleek, futuristic design featuring star map LED headlights and an available panoramic display for unforgettable looks. SiriusXM comes standard in every Kia K4, bringing you closer to what you love. Plus, with an available 190 horsepower turbocharged engine, the Kia K4 delivers everything driving enthusiasts crave. Learn more at kia.com/K4.
From the makers of Rice-A-Roni comes Macaroni, a creamy, delicious boxed mac and cheese that's not just good, it's cheesy good. Macaroni will please even the pickiest eaters with 2 magnificent flavors that will melt your heart, creamy cheddar and creamy white cheddar. If you love cheese, you'll love Macaroni by the makers of Rice-A-Roni. If you don't love cheese, well, that's just unbelievable. Try Macaroni. It's cheesy good.
Macaroni, the San Francisco treat.